We did it. 12 on the dot. We're here.
Yay!
Woo. I love when technology works. Isn't it the best?
It's so nice. It's like one of those things where you're like, it doesn't always happen that way, but it's nice when it does.
No, thank God for Wi-Fi and all these things that help us out.
It's so true. Now we can connect with people everywhere because of Wi-Fi and, being stuck in our houses these days. It's nice to have that ability.
Exactly. Um, well, Tanya, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm actually a huge anime fan, so I'm
Ah,
excited. Um, we've been talking about anime a lot recently. I'll tell you more about that later. But I was really excited to sit down with you today and kind of dive into all these questions that we've got.
well, I'm pretty excited about this. It'll be really fun.
Yeah,
So.
well, some people kind of coming in. So for anyone who's joining us for the very first time today, thank you so much for being here. If you don't know me yet, I'm Jessie Gray Rubenstein. I'm Anne Klein's daughter, and the Women Who Do series was created to truly uphold my grandmother's legacy. She was somebody that stood for strength, empowerment, really a message I think we could all use right now in these difficult times that we're all going through. So I'm excited I can do that and really push forward her voice and message.
Yeah.
And without further ado, I would say, Tanya, she always said clothes won't change the world. It's the women who will. And you're exactly the kind of person she designed clothing for. So for all of our fans out there who are watching today, can you tell us a little bit more about the amazing things you do?
Sure. So I'm an animation producer, so I focus mostly on kids. And currently I'm focusing mostly on preschool. So all of our youngest viewers and our next generation are going to save the world and make us all proud. So I've been working in the industry for more than 15 years, I guess now, in animation itself. And I've worked in 2D, 3D, worked in live action. So I've kind of done all of it, but animation's kind of my first love. And I love being able to create content for the littlest kids to, aspire, see themselves on screen, aspire to something great, and show them that whatever you see, you can be, kind of focus. And I have a little one myself, and it's really fun to watch him learn from all the things and actually watch my shows and be really excited about it. It's very cute. He's also the worst critic, but
How old is he?
He's 5.
Oh, I have a 5-year-old niece. That's such a good age.
Yeah, they're super fun. He's got his own critiques, but he's super fun, and he's a big fan of Maddox School Bus. So it's really fun. And my husband's a kids TV writer as well, so he gets to watch daddy stuff and mommy stuff, and sometimes we work together. So it's kind of a fun whole family affair, I guess you could say.
I feel like animation, especially right now, with so much of the film industry shut down, it's amazing that this is a part of the industry that's still booming. And I think it also has kind of like a happy, upbeat element. And I think that's definitely something that resonates now more than ever.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's so nice that our industry can keep going, because live action's definitely had its issues with all of the COVID regulations and everything that we need to do. But animation, like for example, at Mainframe where I work, we are able to have our entire team work remotely. So we have over 400 people working remotely and being safe, and we're still, creating amazing stuff, and we're really connected to each other, and we're able to have great creative sessions via Zoom mostly, but via the internet, which is actually a really lovely place to be. I mean, it doesn't replace being with people, but I love that animation can continue in its drive forward to bring out good content for every age group, but especially for the kids who really need that. And bringing joy to people's houses, especially right now, is really necessary, I think.
Definitely. I mean, I know my sister-in-law, anything that can kind of you're a mom, you're a teacher, you're kind of doing it all, especially with a lot of Zoom learning taking place. So I know when she has that distraction for her kids, she's probably so grateful.
Yeah, it's funny because I used to be really focused. Yeah, I used to be really focused on making sure that my son didn't have too much screen time, even though I work in TV. But I'm much more focused now on what he watches, in terms of he needs to have that fun release, but he also learning something, because they learn something all the time. And I think that we get so caught up in, screen time is bad, but I think the way we use it is more important. And right now, I mean, getting that relief, like you said, it's just like sometimes they're home 24 hours a day and they can't go with it, they can't play with their friends. There's just so many things they can't do. And so you need to give them some sort of outlet. And I feel really lucky that I can make content that gives them that outlet and can make parents feel comfortable that stuff is going to actually resonate with them and it's going to be good for them to watch.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about quality content,
Yeah.
quality over quantity always. And how do you kind of like teach kids through the programs?
In terms of the watching with, well, I think it's about creating those moments of kind of connectivity with the parents too, asking the questions to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So talking to the kids when you're making content, I think talking down to kids loses them. So if you talk to them like they're people and at their level, you're going to, we think that kids know less than they do. Kids are pretty smart and they want to learn, especially when they're like, especially, you know, under the age of 10, they really are, they're just sponges for information. Not that we aren't when we get older, but giving them the ability to ask questions and really get them to engage with the characters on screen, but also have those questions to ask parents. Like, for example, my son watches School Bus and it's learning about magnetism, say, and he'll ask questions about it that come up in the show, but he's younger than what that show's targeted for, but it allows us to have that conversation and making content that kids and parents can enjoy, or at least parents can tolerate in terms of preschool sometimes. Like, you know, sometimes there's preschool shows that are just for preschoolers, but I think that creating content that allows them to ask questions and talking to the kids makes them more engaged. When you talk to them as if they really are not the smartest thing and this is above you kind of thing, or you talk down to them, they know it and then they tune out. So when you talk to them like you're their buddy and you get on their level, it allows them to really engage with the content and engage with you as a parent as well, because they're going to want to know more. So you can like open a book and like look through things and talk through something. So it's really kind of giving those touch points of, you can ask the questions and hear the question that the character asked, and now you can fill in the blanks here. And so I think it's really about how we present the information to the kids and making them feel like we're with them right along the way on that journey, and the character is their friend that they can have those conversations with.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. And it's so special that you get to share that with your son.
It's really fun, I have to say.
Yeah. And Tanya, I mean, it's quite amazing. You're a 2-time Emmy Award winning producer. There are countless shows that, you know, you have spearheaded. What has kept you going all these years? What's like that inspiration?
I think that I've been really lucky in my career to be really surrounded by really inspiring creative people, and I've learned so much. Like, I've really worked on some incredible properties, and I've worked with some incredible creators and people who genuinely care and love the audience that we're working towards. It's not just about making content, it's about what our audience really needs and what we want to reach out to them and talk to that audience and really care about them. And I've been so fortunate to be able to work with so many creators who think that way, who've given me like really great insights into how kids think and how kids, you know, consume content, and just what's really kind of the next thing. And I think what keeps me going is, what else can we do? How else can we engage kids? What other stories can we tell? How can we make every kid be seen on screen, and how can they see themselves, and what else can we do to inspire them? And I've been so fortunate to work with amazing creators and creatives, and I really, that's what keeps me going, is finding that next project that can really speak to kids about something, or meeting a creator who just is so alight with this idea that you fall right into it and you get really excited about making that. And I think for me, I just want to keep creating and working with creators to make amazing content. And that just drives me constantly. It's so exciting to have a new idea and go, what can we do with this idea, and how can we get this out to the kids, and what can we do technology wise? I think the thing that really gets me excited is that technology, in my short career so far, animations come from, you know, like traditional all the way through to like fully digital, and all the different types of software we can use now, and what we can do on screen is incredible. And how do we take that and make it the next level up and make it engaging, but also use things to really bring those to life? And I think that both those things kind of drive me really to kind of see what else we can do next, and what's the next piece of content kids are really going to love.
Yeah, that's the fun part. I mean, I work very different, obviously, but even in social media, it's like feeling constantly challenged because the technology is always changing. So you're never bored. There's always something new to learn.
Yeah, which is also fun. I think the thing I love about what my job is I love that there's the no day is the same. Every day there's something new to learn. There's a new challenge to overcome, and there's new people to meet. And I think that I really enjoy the fact that it's a constant evolving position, and it's a really fun industry to be a part of.
Yeah. And one question I always like to ask, because I feel like you oftentimes wonder, like, how did someone get to where they are? I find that life is very rarely a linear path that takes you to like, it's one step and then the other. It's usually just
That's
dad,
true.
where you like met one person and your whole life's changed. So kind of how did you fall into this career path?
Yeah, interesting. Kind of, animation was kind of by accident. I initially started out wanting to be a doctor, so that was my career path, and then I kind of fell in love with the arts a lot more, and I started in live action, wanted to be in the features and in the feature business side of it or drama. And I got I met a colleague of mine on a documentary who ended up moving over to an animated series, which happened to be Atomic Betty. And I kind of just followed her and kind of fell into animation. And the minute I started working in animation, I just kind of fell in love with it. And I've been really fortunate to have been guided by people who wanted to take a chance on someone who didn't know the space that well, and to really teach me things and be patient enough to let me grow within those. And I've actually been really blessed with having colleagues and bosses who really were open to teaching me things and letting me grow in the roles I was in. So it was kind of by accident, but then I feel like it was a bit more like kismet because it fits so well with me, who I am, and just meeting the right people at the right time, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's never linear.
Nope.
um, I feel like this is a conversation it's really important because especially during these times, so many people have had to pivot their careers. They might have been on one trajectory and maybe that's no longer an industry that for this time and place is really is something that makes sense. So, or maybe someone's just realized like this is a good time to pivot. So for
Mhm.
someone out there that's watching and might be kind of in that position right now, what would be some suggestions that you have for them?
I think that if you decide that you want to pivot or you want to get into another industry, is it reach out to people, like do your research on who's doing what, like different executives, different types of creatives. In my industry, for example, what I do, I mentor a couple of people currently, and what I tell them is look at what people are doing and find the ones that really speak to you, and then find out who's behind it, and then ask them for coffee right now because it's COVID. Ask them for a Zoom coffee because everyone's always up for coffee. It's like non-committal and it's a half hour of someone's day. So even the busiest executive always has that time. And for me, I always love when people reach out and want to have coffee because I'm always interested to know what they want to do and why they're into this industry and what they want to learn. And I think that, speaking from the kids industry side of it, I think a lot of us are really excited to, meet new talent and encourage people to find that. But I think really if you're trying to pivot, figure out what it is that really alights, like gets you excited, and figure out who you admire in that industry or what you want to aspire to, and then figure out who you should contact just to pick their brain, and then pick their brain and take that information and figure out what to do with it after that. Because it's really about connections in any industry of who you know, but also what you do with that information and how you connect with people. So I think it's really about and even now, because COVID is making it's harder to connect in person. It's more of an effort to connect, I find, because it's not just like, hey, I'll meet you here, or I'm happy to do this. It's more about, do you have, would you like to have a Zoom call at this time or a phone call? Are you now brain dead from being on Zoom all day? But it's really about making those connections and trying to find out what inspires you from those connections and go there. I think anyone who really wants to pivot will do their homework and figure out what makes them excited. Because I think now is an interesting time too, is that if you want to pivot, what is it that you want to do, and what you've always wanted to do, and try and go from there and really kind of let your heart guide you a little bit.
Definitely. I feel like also there's just so little information out there on like what a job really is,
It's so
Like
true. Oh my gosh.
like I mean, I remember I must have been in college at this point, but I reached out to a girl who I thought had a really impressive LinkedIn, and we had coffee, and she told me about her job, and I was like, oh, this sounds horrible. It's like, I don't want to. And she was like asking me like all the right questions. She was like, do you love math? And I was like, not my thing. I'm a creative person. And it was probably the most helpful conversation I've had in my career, because she told me like those small things you just don't know from a book or from class. You just have to really like sit down with someone and have them tell you the real day to day.
It's so true, because like the jobs themselves and the job descriptions, or what you'll read online, is like one thing, and it sounds glamorous. Like everyone's like, "Oh, you work in television, it's so glamorous." I'm like, there's a lot about TV that isn't super
Yeah.
glamorous, but it's figuring out what that day to day is, and if that's really, or what the focus is, and if that's something that you're interested in, because it's every job is different, and it sounds good on paper, but there's a whole bunch of other sides of it that isn't on paper, right? It just looks good from afar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, it's nice. I actually have one of those calls coming up Friday.
Yeah.
Had reached out to me, and it's always nice to make sure someone doesn't make the same, avoidable mistakes that you did.
It's nice. I find I've been mentoring a bit for the last couple of years, and I find it so inspiring, because it's helping guide them, but also just seeing how excited they are, and like what gets them going. And I feel like it's just a nice place to be. And I was fortunate enough to have people guide me, and so I get so excited when I can be, somewhat helpful to people, hopefully, when they're trying to take their next step or their first step in whatever
Well,
career
I'm sure
path
you're
they're going to
gonna
go on.
get a bunch of DMs after this.
Okay, I'm totally up for that. I love Zoom coffees.
And another question. So you've worked at all different levels. You've had such
Mhm.
a amazing career, and kind of like who were the women in your career that guided you, and really in your life that inspired you to, be the woman you are today, both personally and professionally?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I have to say that I was uh, my colleague at a documentary, the one that hired me for Atomic Betty, Steph. She really took me under her wing and really taught me everything I needed to know to grow as a producer in animation. And without her, I probably wouldn't have gotten into animation. I really appreciated everything that she offered up, and I was really lucky to work with some really inspiring women when I was at Brown Bag and Nine Story, because they have the exec team is 90% women, which is amazing. And we would, they were really inspiring of how far they've come and what they wanted, and really supporting women to be stronger. I'd say in my personal life, I am, my mom and my mother-in-law, both of them really have shaped me in different ways. And they're both really strong in various ways. And I find them so inspiring to be um, around. Like my mom's worked very hard to where she is, and she just cares about people so much, and it's all about being the kindest and the most compassionate person you need to be. And my mother-in-law is super strong, and she is always she's just a strong fighter. She's like, what she wants she gets, and she's just really driven, and I find that so inspiring. And I've been really fortunate to surround myself with really strong women, and I have some really close friends who just are unbelievably, remarkably strong women who have always given me the time. Like, even though they're super busy, they have so much to do. One is the managing editor of a journal, and one's a teacher with two kids, and like they're super busy all the time. And yet it doesn't matter what's going on in their life, they always have time to offer advice, or even that just comment of, you can do it. And I feel like we always need those people to be like, I want to be a hot mess on one day and you're still going to love me, and I want to be this super powerful person the next day and you're still going to support me no matter what. And I think I've been really lucky to have those pillars behind me, and I think that's helped me be so driven and focused, because I know that I can always fall back on somebody and they're there to catch me. And I think that is what I find has really helped me be confident and push forward
Mm-hmm.
in terms of that.
Yeah, it makes all the difference having amazing girlfriends, having the mom, at any age you still call and you're like, what do you think?
Yeah.
I know I do that with my mom. So
It's always fun to get their perspective, because they just, it's just, You know, they may not even know what to say, but just knowing you can call them and be like, I have this issue and I just want to, or I just want to cry on the phone and you'll let me cry on the phone. And that's always
Exactly.
nice too.
Sometimes you just need to like, you just talk at someone and you
Yeah,
figure it out yourself, but they were there to just like be on the other end of the line.
exactly. And, like, and there's no, like, I'm not fixing you. I'm just here to listen. And that's, you know, sometimes that's all you really need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the other things I was curious about, you've had such a huge like portfolio of work. What has kind of been the most rewarding project that you've worked on?
Oh, that's a hard one because I've worked on some amazing ones. I would say one that really captured my heart was Xavier Riddle in the Secret Museum. It's on PBS for anyone watching. It's on PBS, and it is a remarkable series. It's based on a book series called Ordinary People Change the World, and it's about kids. A group of 3 kids go back in time and meet historical figures when they're 6, and they talk about what you can do. So it's a preschool show that basically shows all the kids out there that you can be anything, and gives them kind of takeaways on